Okay, so here we are in uptown Monaco, just across the street from the palace, in the famous Carlino's Chocolates, Monte Carlo. And I've got a captivated audience. We have Maria. Wave Maria to Canada. And we have Angela. You got to speak on that. Tell them where you're from.
Hi, I'm from New York.
I love that. We're from Loretta.
Hi, I'm Loretta from New York.
Yeah. We have Valerie, who's so kind to us. Have a seat, Valerie. Okay, here we go. All I ever wanted was to drive a fast car with the top rolled down, summer wind, golden hair blowing all around. All I ever wanted was to sing like Elvis.
Road Stories with Alan Frew, featuring part 2 of Canadian rock legend Rompin' Ronnie Hawkins.
Farewell, goodbye, although I cry. I kissed her like rain. He's been ashamed. You're the one to blame.
It's no secret that you've played the game hard, right? You would qualify, there's a street in Glasgow called Paisley Road West where there's some hard men, right? So you'd be an honorary member of that team. Talk about surviving the perils of... Just talk about the shit, Ronnie, right?
Oh, baby. Baby, I want to tell you something. Now, see, when we first started, like I said, it was us trying to copy some of the black music, and they didn't have any names for it then. First, they called me Hot Country, then they called it Rockabilly, and then they called it Rock and Roll. And all them names went within a year or two down there, you know, and different people was calling things different things. All it was, I was just trying to copy the blues and trying to sing it right. But when we started playing what they called Rockabilly, boys, it was 2 pay grades below a prisoner of war. you had to supplement your income if you were a star at Rockabilly then, you know. And so I did. I paid it. I got 75 cents an hour for painting the Memphis Queen. That was when I was down there wowing them on Beale Street. But anyway, that's the way it was. And then when we got to rocking a little bit, but you see, the places were so rough that we played in down there because kids 2 or 3 years older than me thought they were been brainwashed to say it's music of the devil. Some of those preachers got down there, got to start, and said this is music of the devil because, you know, the kids were dancing and rocking and doing wild things and all this. So, you know, all them, that's a heavy church going. There's more churches than there's schools down there, man. So I learned a long time ago, you know, I believe in God, man, as much as anybody in the world. But when that bunch came in on me, all I'm doing was playing music. So I had 4 deacons of the church come in on me. I was playing down there in a little town, and they walked in there to me and said, I could have been with a girl or a young boy if it was today. But they come in on me, the deacon said, Ronnie Hawkins, says, don't you believe in God? And the only thing I was doing was playing rock and roll music, you know, trying to draw 15 people if I could. And I said, believe in God? I said, let me tell you something, gentlemen. I believe in God probably more, in fact, I think, than anybody else on this planet. But I want to tell you gentlemen something. I'm really leery of the ground crew, I can tell you that, baby. You know, I mean, I've seen too much shit going down here, you know. So maybe some of you are good and maybe some of you ain't. But I know where I'm at, so, you know.
But do you find, like, I'm a great believer in, you know, music has kept me young. It's kept me young in my heart.
Oh, music is everything. Music, you know.
I mean, if you were an average, you know, you've been a banker or a lawyer or whatever, not, doing the stuff that you've done, you've probably been dead 10 times over.
Well, you know, usually it's the other way around. If you've done what I've done, this much you're usually dead 10 times over. Because we've been in some close calls in my time. I mean, wars. When I tried to make it with those 4 black musicians, the Blackhawks, I'm cut all over. Look at my face. Look at the bottle. I bottled twice in this one. You can see the scars in there? Yeah. And underneath, I'm cut across the arm. You see that one across the arm?
Now, what's this all from?
I was playing with a mixed band in redneck country.
Right.
You know, but they'd hire us as a mixed band. I mean, I'd book us, and then when you get in there, they'd have a few drinks, and then they said, well, we'll pay you $5, but we're going to give them we're going to give the niggers $5 a piece.
Right.
Well, then that started the war with me, and that's why I'm cut all over. But after about a year and a half, you know, they would. Well, hell, they shot the back of my old Buick. They had one of them old 50 model Buicks for a road car, a great big old thing, and when the front shocks wear out on it, which they were worn out on this one, when you stop at a stop sign, you get seasick. That car bounces for 20 minutes, and we were trying to get away from it. We played a little old honky-tonk. Let me tell you something. This is where what's the brothers' names down there? They come from Midland and Odessa, Texas. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of Odessa.
Okay, well, those brothers, the Gatlin brothers, come from there. But it's two little towns there, and it's rural, and it's Texas, boy, and they're redneck. They're redneck down there, man. So I went down there, and I took Jay Smith. You know who Jason Eugene Smith? Eugene Smith. You might have even heard of great talent, man, for back then. And I knew it was redneck down there, so I passed him off as a Canadian Eskimo, because he was light-skinned, you know, and had that hair process. And then, of course, he got down there after 2 days and got to talking. He said, oh, no, he says, I'm a Canadian Negro, you know. Well, there it went, baby. That's the job's over, everything's done, because the cat said, it's the same old story they told you down there. Now, Ronnie, I'm not prejudiced, you know that. He said, but I'm just afraid of all this trouble that's going to happen and all that stuff. And that was in the 60s, baby. That wasn't 1847.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating that they would enjoy the music and then still want to revert back to their racist ways and chase you guys out of town.
Well, let me tell you, baby, there's something going on in the world since the beginning of time. All you got to do is look at the news today. Look what's going on in Scotland. Look what's going on in Ireland. They've been killing each other over there, and especially English, ever since I can remember, since the Black and Tan. Then, you know, if it hadn't been for that Mel Gibson, you all would have been in serious trouble.
Yeah, Mel Gibson saved us, didn't he?
Mel Gibson saved the whole clan, man.
Okay, now...
Well, it all started there on a Friday night, kicking up the heels and shaking to the right. We listened to the sounds of a honky-tonk band, rocking to the music when they laying it down. Jerry, Lee, and Carl, they would be so proud. There ain't no stopping gonna shake this town.
Somebody said to me, ask Ronnie, now this isn't from me.
All right.
Someone else. And they said, ask Ronnie about the gas station fire.
Well,
Tell us that story.
You'll see it in my documentary. The President of the United States, ex-president, said he would tell the story, because it's even better when he told it, because we didn't know that version of it. We didn't know he had heard it at Camp David from the biggest chaplain in the U.S. military, because that's where they operate. The generals and the president goes to Camp David. It was in his sermon. My name came up in his sermon, and it woke the president up. And I mean, you know, all of a sudden, what is this? He's telling a story about sometimes it is possible that you could sin and be forgiven and have another chance. And that's what the sermon was about. Well, that woke up the president, so he had to go back and ask the cat the whole story. Well, in the early 50s, this cat happened to be in a club that I played at in Oklahoma. And the other bands that played with us was JJKO and Leon Russell. Wow. They were just starting, you know, and so this cat, he was one of them Dixie Mafias, they called him, you know, one of them cats that drives them new cars. And Oklahoma was a dry state. Now, what that means is the bootleggers in Oklahoma give the churches millions to vote no alcohol, you know, because they were selling it illegally. You know, that's where the money was. The booze cans, the brown paper, you know, the brown bag clubs. I don't know if you all know what that is. That's where you bring your own whiskey in, and they charge you for it, and they sell you ice and cokes and all that. They're weird laws. It's whoever knows the politicians who gets those licenses. And so anyway, we're playing there, and boy, she's packed. Everything's great. We was probably making about $300 for the whole band. So he offered me another $100 to play an extra hour just to make it, because it was really rocking, they were really drinking. I did it. And then I'd heard rumors about him from Ray Charles and from a couple other big acts. And so I said, listen, Hoss, you know, he's one of them cats that lifts them weights, you know, got them big old arms, make Arnold Schwarzenegger look like a before ad. You know, but I'd had some things to do with those kind of guys before. They got big arms, but they got very little nuts, most of them. You know. So anyway, I got to talking to him and said, "Don't do that to me because we don't have any money. I mean, we have to have what money we make tonight to get to the next gig, man. I mean, you know." And so he said, "Oh, no problem, Ronnie. We got this. I'm going to give you an extra 50 and all this." So sure enough, he off with his beautiful girlfriend and left me there. Finally, everybody drifted out. We're looking, trying to find him. He's gone. And then I found out from one of the guys where his girlfriend number. I called her, and of course he was there. And he said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Maybe I'll give you a check. I'll take care of it tomorrow." I said, "If you don't come down here now in 30 minutes, there's going to be a goddamn, you know, there's going to be disaster." And he said, "All right." He said, "You know, if I don't come down, find you know," he was drunk, tough, high, and had that sweet blonde of his. You know, I wouldn't have gone back either if I'd have been him. But you have to take the consequences. So I said, "Yes," and I went out there and I siphoned. I had them. Back then I had that Arkansas credit card. You know, that's a 7-0 and a 5-gallon can, you know, just in case we got short on the highway. I mean, I had to sing with chapped lips half my career down there, man. I'd belch up them gas fumes. I was afraid to smoke. It'd blow my head off. But anyway, I got them cans, baby, and loaded up, just like I'd seen in the movies, just like a bunch of movies. I put that gas all over. But first we broke into all the cigarette machines, the candy machines, the beer machines. Well, goddamn, I got $700 or $800 out of them, and we got enough devil eggs to last a month, man. And them old pickle weenies, you know, them old pickle things they got on the, boy, we hit the mother load. And cigarettes for the boys for 3 months, man. And anyway, but still, it was, you know, that wasn't right because the cat tried to cheat us, you know. So once I did all that, and of course I put that gas all over the floor, and I backed that gas up right to that door just like they do in movies, right? Well, I'm looking around, I got everybody out, and I got my can up, I got my hose here, and I lit it, and that lighter didn't even strike a split second till it blew me right through the door, man. I mean, goddamn, that gas explodes, boys. It doesn't go like all that shit, man, like them fuses. It blew me through the door, and thank God the door was there. I mean, it blew it off its hinges. That's a pretty heavy bolt, you know, and I went back there, and I'm thinking I'm blind, you know, till this day. My eyebrows, you know, I got no eyebrows. It burned them all off. I had no eyebrows. I couldn't see. And there I am standing there thinking I've gone blind and everything else. And then slowly, you know, some light was coming. I was starting to see, but by that time I heard sirens. I was surrounded by the fire department, the police department, and goddamn the KGB and the Secret Service and the Ku Klux Klan had me, you know. And they said, "Listen, do you know anything about this fire?" And then I'm standing there burnt plumb up. I said, "Not a thing, officer." And he said, "Ronnie, get in your car and go to the state line, because this time, because he'd burnt the place twice." I didn't know that, and collected the insurance. This time he didn't have any insurance on it. So it got burnt, and he had it then. But that wasn't the end of the story. It goes a long ways. There's a whole bunch more to it. But we finally collected. I got all my money. I got $700 or $800 cash, and ate them pickled eggs and them pickled wieners till, you know, if Arabs started following me around, I had so much gas coming out of me.
Now,
boy, we had some gas in the car after eating all them pickled eggs and all that shit, man.
beautiful story. Talk about, you know, I'm watching you guys work today, right? And I'm watching all their faces, all the guys in the band. Your own daughter,
yes.
Beautiful girl, Leah.
Don't brag on her, she'll want to raise.
Yeah, and your son, Robin, right?
Yes.
And they look at you with, you know, such reverence, as they should. I mean, how do you feel like, you know, about music today and working with the young musicians around you? And
well, let me tell you something about the music. Musicians today, and when the musicians I tried to get, boys, today these young kids are geniuses. They can play, they can sing. Boy, we had to audition hundreds of cats just to find one that, you know, could do anything except, you know, back in the saddle again, or who shit in my left saddlebag. You know, we was trying to get out of that. We just wanted to play blues, and of course, that was illegal in the state of Arkansas nearly. I mean, Fort Smith had some, and John Lee Hooker, when he was young, he used to come in. I'd slip down in what they call the hollow, you know, then. It's called Afro-American Hollow, I guess now. I don't know, but that's where I went for music, and that's where I went down to hear the church cats singing. Because the black churches would let you have a guitar or sax or anything you could play. That the white ones just piano or organ, you know, and they sung, but they rocked down there, and that's the stuff I liked. And I just started listening, trying to get around it, trying to learn anything I could, because that's what I wanted to do. Because, as you know, all of us are in the entertainment business because we're God's gift. and we just want to play to show off. We're all show off.
Is it still fun for you? You still having
well,
as much fun today?
It's fun for me if it's the right gig. I'm like an old fighter. I've always compared rock and rollers with professional fighters. They all do all the work. You got the management that's leeching out there to take everything you got if you make anything, and you got to fight it. And a fighter has to fight, and a musician or a band has to play, because a fighter can't just hit a heavy bag because the heavy bag doesn't hit back, and you can't just practice because it ain't the same as getting out there in front of the lions. You know, as the audience is, there are the lions and the tigers out there, and you have to learn quick, like you did, like anybody who's still surviving. You have to satisfy the people, or you've got a problem. And you have to learn how to do it as quick as you can, so you learn a lot of psychology. You know when somebody's getting ready to go crazy and pull a gun on you, you learn how to watch them knives, and you learn never to go home with a young girl that you don't know about to her place. That's the first thing you learn. I know several musicians got cut doing that one after I told them not to do it. You know, it's the old story where a boyfriend comes in, right? You know, God dang, man. I mean, if you're carrying a gun, it's okay. I didn't mind, 'cause I always carried a gun, but they didn't. They got cut up a little, you know.
One more time, I'd sure love to see these old friends of mine. Sure love to be with them just one more time. Talking about days gone by. I don't know.
Is there anything left for you to still learn?
Oh, are you kidding? I'm starting one thing I've never done in my life. This is the last attack. I'm trying to take this unbelievable Canadian talent up here and trying to find those who've got the best reputations there is around of doing what they do, no matter what it is, and putting it in one unit, you know. I'm going to go to the East Coast and try to find that grandmother that could play that Paganini stuff, man. She must have been 85 years old, and I can't remember her name or nothing because, well, you won't believe this, but I took a little sip of Screech.
Ah.
That will make you lose your memory.
Yes,
but she was wonderful.
And control. And so there's still, you know, you're still enjoying it. There's still things for you to do.
There's some things I can do as long as it's doing it on the big time thing. I can't go back and, you know, I can't, you know, play them places anymore that I used to, where you got to show your razor and puke twice before they'll let you in, you know. I mean, we used to play for an hour and then fight for an hour. Right. But see, I don't heal up quick anymore, and I bruise easy, and you know, and everything on me is stiff, but the right thing.
The new album.
What? Yeah, let's get into that. You've got a brand new album coming out, correct?
We got a new one coming out one of these days. Hell, we cut it a year ago, but I wanted to do things that hadn't been done. So, well, one of the things, I got Robbie and Levon on the same songs for the first time in 26 years.
Beautiful.
But one's in Kingston and the other one's in Toronto when they did it, but it's still done. Then we used all the young good pickers that I've heard about that everybody loves in Canada. The Tragically Hip, they were big time. The Wide Mouth Mason, the Big Sugar. All those guys are good musicians, man. They're all, you couldn't find musicians like that in the 50s, man.
Ronnie, you never called me.
Well, you know, you were just a...
You were out of town when we looked for your number.
you were just a little gleam in your daddy's eye when I was doing that.
So you're going to do a video here, right?
We're going to do a video, and it's David Foster, which will be in his first class, and we got his son, who's really a brilliant young man from England, married David and B.J. Cook's daughter. And she just signed a deal after she's gone through all the schools, and he has too. She got a $250,000 signing bonus just last year with one of the big, not David's, but another big publishing company for a lyricist. She's brilliant. And he's done all that through the movies. He's going to be one of those Martin Scorsese's or one of them cats because he's been to all those great schools and he's sharp.
He just shot your video out there with...
Yeah, he shot the video, boy, and he knows how to do it. When I recorded out there with Bev D'Angelo, you know, she was pregnant with twins by the Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Al Pacino. She was getting ready to have twins, and boy, she sung her ass off too. Boy, she's good. And then I had Chris Christopherson. You know, he sung his ass off too, but the voice is about like mine. Me and Chris, David Foster said. You know, he's being smart. If he hadn't been as big as he was, I might have broke his nose. But if he hadn't had that much security. But he said, my gosh, that's the first time, Ronnie, I said, I've ever heard two bad voices come out pretty good. And Chris said, is he bragging on us or what? You know, Chris he's hip as they come. Chris is one of them brilliant cats. He's the smartest rocker I've ever seen. He's got a brilliant memory. Rhodes Scholar.
Two things I remember well was I sang in Quebec for Rendezvous 87 when Team Canada played the Russians. I can still remember David Foster waiting for Glass Tiger to arrive because his kids were driving him crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And I can still see him at the top of the steps, and I got upstairs and he goes, "Alan, thank Christ you're here. These two have been driving me crazy." And the other thing I remember was you were interviewed. I guess they were just sort of saying, what do you think of these young kids, this Glass Tiger?
Oh, yeah.
And I remember you praising us.
Well, you know, I heard your voice. I mean, you had the voice, kid. You could hit them high notes. And, you know, so I said, you know, he ain't never going to sing in my band. I told you that. I like guys like Chris Christopherson and Sab singing in my band. And if they get any better than what they are, it's just going to be me and Waxy.
Just one time, just one more time. I'd sure love to see these old friends of mine. Sure love to be with them just one more time. Talking about days gone by.